Hey everyone, this is a PC part review of components that I used in the process of building a computer, which I did last week. There are a few components that I used. Specifically, I used the Asus Prime Z270-A motherboard, the Core i5-7600K, which is an LGA 1151 processor built by Intel. I used the Hyper 212 EVO CPU processor cooler. I used the Team T Force Dark 16 gigabyte RAM drives. They were 8 gigabytes a piece. I used the Corsair CX Series CX450 as my power supply, and then I used the MSI GeForce GTX 1050 Ti gaming graphics card. Specifically, what I wanted to focus on today were two components that actually didn't fit, and they were the Hyper 212 EVO, which is the CPU processor coolant, and the Prime Z270-A, which is the motherboard by Asus. Now they're two great components. Specifically, two that I looked up and reviewed on YouTube, as well as Amazon for their reviews. Did pretty well on the reviews. The only part about it that didn't work well is when placing the coolant on the motherboard. They, as you probably know, have 4 holes for bolts to bracket on the coolant. Now, what the Hyper 212 EVO has issues with is that there's only 3 notches, 3 different options for sizes, and the size that the motherboard needed was between 2 of the options that the Hyper coolant has. And so the issue with that is it wasn't bolted down or tightened well, so it enabled it to spin around on the CPU processor even after I glued the coolant onto the processor. But I spoke to a few people about the issue. They said everything should be fine as long as the cooler is placed firmly on the processor to enable it to take any of the heating that the processor would have. And so I took that and decided to run with it. I kept both the cooler and the motherboard, and it's been working fine for about a week. I've been using it for gaming as well as for Adobe applications, and everything seems to be fine. I checked the temperature. There's a couple different software packages you can choose for free online that enable you to, or you can choose to look at the BIOS. But everything seems to be good. But yeah, that was one issue that I found with both the Prime Z270-A and the Hyper 212 EVO. It was my first build, so a lot to learn from, but I did learn quite a bit, and I hope that helps everyone out. If you want to learn more, definitely just click the subscribe button, and hopefully we can help you out with your PC buildings.